What's up everyone, my name is Anthony, and in this video I'm going to do some analysis on the broader markets and then discuss updates from previous videos on the technical analysis that I showed there, and then kind of show you what I think is going to happen over the next couple of days or so in terms of the broader markets as well as some specific stock picks that I mentioned previously. So just in terms of today's price action in the markets, we are down around 1% on the S&P 500, which is really good for us because we are in SPY puts. And we were flat on the day pretty much until the very last hour of the trading day, where the markets just kind of shot down, and that's what brought this account up 2,700 just today from SPY puts. So looking at the weekly chart, we've been holding SPY puts throughout this entirety of the downside. And for those of you who don't know, this Robinhood account is just all the Discord plays that I have. I take them all on this account, and this just kind of just tracks how they're doing. So we are doing pretty well in terms of looking at the all-time history of this account. We are at all-time highs now from these SPY puts. So we pretty much just gone straight up since we entered, and this is looking really good so far. So I have exited a majority of the position, and I'm just kind of holding some runners left, and we'll try to exit them in the future. Maybe tomorrow's trading day, we'll see what happens. But yeah, things are looking really good, and of course I will keep all my trades on the Discord updated here on this Robinhood account, and this is just kind of to track what's going on. So with that said, let's get into the technical analysis of this video. So we'll start off with the S&P 500, which is here reflected in SPY. So just zooming out a little bit, I want to focus on this impulsive wave in golden yellow right here, and this is just on the 15-minute time frame. So we're kind of taking a step back from all the minute-by-minute details and just seeing what's going on in the broader term time frame. So we have a wave 1 up, wave 2 down, wave 3 up, wave 4 down, and then we're working on this last bit of upside for the wave 5. And I know there's a lot of inner markings and a lot of notations on this chart, but I'm going to show you exactly what we should focus on when trading this. So we're going to dive down right to the 3-minute time frame, and we're going to zoom in on this little bit of wave 5. So over here at the start, so you can see here's the wave 4 bottom, and we have a wave 1 up, wave 2 down, and then a wave 3 all the way up here, and then this is our wave 4 down, and they're working on a wave 5 upwards. So just in terms of price action, we want to focus on this wave 4, and that's what we've been targeting with puts right here. So this wave 3, 4. And the reason why I was really interested in targeting this is because right over here, our wave 2 was really shallow. As you can see, this is barely any dip. So by theory of alternation, your wave 4 is going to be really heavy, and that is so far what we're seeing right now. And we've already gotten that really huge drop at the end of the day. And yeah, so we've pretty much dropped around, I think 1.8% roughly since the top of this wave 3. So we've already gotten a majority of the correction, I would say. And I'm going to go back to the 15-minute time frame, and I can show you the retracement levels are right here. So these are the 0.236, etc., all the way down to the 0.786 levels. And this is just from measuring the bottom of wave 2 right here up to the top of that wave 3 over here. So when we take those retracement levels, we have already bounced off, or we haven't really bounced yet, but we've hit the 0.5 retracement level right there, and that is right at 438.92. So I expect us to have some pretty strong support down at these levels, especially right here. So this is why I'm interested in trying to exit the puts now, because we're approaching levels of pretty strong support for a wave 4 on the wave down. We could go further to the 0.786 retracement, which would be at 434, which is a pretty substantial drop from these levels. That's another, that is another, let me see, around, yeah, almost a 1% drop from these levels. So there, if we do head downwards to these lower retracement levels, there is some significant more downside, but at that point, it's pretty much gambling. You don't know how far it's going to go down, and I would say anything past the 0.618 in terms of downside is extended. So I do expect a bounce somewhere around these levels, and I will be looking to get some dip buys on calls, especially if we do hit this 437 zone, because I do expect really strong support at this level. And then what happens after that, so if we do bounce, we should come up for a wave 5 and right here. So this will actually be the very last bit of upside of this whole bull market since the COVID crash. So we're actually going to have that last chance of upside up here. We most likely will form some kind of double top pattern. So for example, we come like this, and then we bounce right here. You'll typically see some kind of like wedge formation, and then it'll kind of stabilize, and then we'll push upwards like this impulsively, possibly. We'll see what happens when we do start moving upwards in the pattern, but then once we do hit this wave 5 target, we'll start heading down and crashing down. So that I wouldn't say this is necessarily a market crash like the COVID drop, but there's going to be a very significant sell-off after this point because we've reached the termination of all these wave fives, these nested wave fives, and as you can see, there's so many wave fives that are finishing right here, and when you have that, you're going to start having that large ABC correction to the downside to retrace all the bull market upside. So or I shouldn't say all the bull market upside, but a large portion of it. So we can definitely expect SPY to maybe come down to 400 once again. So we'll see what happens when we bounce off here for the wave 5, and then we can start entering puts once again to try to target this long-term downside. But for now, I am looking for dip buys on calls once we do hit some of these lower retracement levels. But for now, that's what I'm seeing for the index. And in terms of just dissecting what the downside we're seeing, I just see this as like a simple WXY correction. Not too big of a, not too complicated. It's just a 3-move step to the downside. So you would just see like this kind of move, and that's what we've been getting so far. So I think we see a continuation of that downside, possibly to these support levels, and then a bounce upwards for that wave 5, and then we'll come crashing down. So that's going to be for the S&P 500. For Qs, it's a little bit different, and in terms of what we've been seeing, we've actually been stalling within this kind of parallel channel while SPY has been doing a little bit of up and down motion. And so this is why I haven't been trading the triple Qs, is because we've been doing this complex correction for a while now. And I actually really want to bring up this because there's an important point to be made. So when we have this impulsive structure, we have the wave 1 top right here, and that is right around 360. And for those of you who are familiar with wave theory, the whole idea is that your wave 4 cannot cross into wave 1 territory. So basically, I don't think it's possible for the Qs, if this wave count is valid, for the Qs to drop below this level. So that means there is a maximum of around 0.5% left of downside on the Qs. And that means that our wave 4 right here will kind of match this W wave bottom. So if we do see a push to these levels, if this wave count is valid, I would say that we have to push upwards for that wave 5 after this. So, and the reason why I mentioned this is because for SPY, so if we're anticipating a maximum of 0.5% to the downside on the Qs, the tech sector, then that means we could roughly see around the same maximum drop on SPY as well, because SPY typically will follow QQQ and vice versa. So if we do see that kind of drop, it looks like we may fall around the same point. If we fall roughly 0.5%, that would bring us right to that 0.618 retracement level. So I do see a bounce right here. That would be very good alignment with the tech sector. And as you can see today, they kind of fell the same percentage, 1.09% in SPY and then 0.96% in the Qs. So just in terms of estimating further downside, we could push a little bit lower, maybe 0.5% lower in both the indexes. And that would create a really good buying opportunity for calls, in my opinion. And I will be looking to target that. And of course, I'll be signaling in the Discord when I do take that trade. So that's going to be it for the indexes. And of course, I have to talk about the VIX whenever we do the indexes. So I've always mentioned how we would expect a volatility pop with this wave 4 drop in the S&P 500, and we have gotten exactly that. We've ran up a ton since we bounced off this kind of trendline support in white, and that is up 25%. I think yesterday, so right around when we got the drop originally, the first drop, it popped the VIX like 15%, and then it kind of consolidated a little bit, and then it popped right up again for today's price action. So just volatility we can expect for the wave 5. When that does happen, it could probably come back to retest this trend line right here in white. And that's with wave 5. When we have that wave 5 increase over here, we should see volatility decrease. So also now moving on to the individual stock picks, I want to talk about Moderna or MRNA. So for Moderna, we do have a correction in the midst of forming. So we have this very extended wave theory pattern showing here. So I can even, if I go all the way back here, so we have kind of that initial wave 1, 2, and then we keep extending. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that extended wave 3, and then a wave 4 correction right here. And then we have a huge laundry list of wave 5 extensions. So over here we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 upwards, and then within this wave 5 you had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then etc. You can keep subdividing that wave 5, and that's why we got so much upside to Moderna, and that's why I see this stock correcting a significant amount. So just in terms of dissecting what that downside may look like, we have that A wave initial move to the downside followed by this current working of the B wave. And in terms of estimating where this may stop, I do see a potential stopping zone at anywhere in this blue rectangle. However, we could have the top of this B wave be right at the 0.382 retracement level, which would be at 406, and we've already hit that. So we could start falling now, but I would say the safer bet is to hope that it comes up to these levels, and then you enter a bearish position targeting that C wave to the downside. And I believe that the C wave will be pretty steep. We will come down to retrace a majority of the upside, and maybe around hitting those 190 levels to 230 levels in terms of finding some support after this downside. So yeah, I'm definitely very bearish on this stock, and I will be looking to potentially enter puts for the C wave downwards. So yeah, that's Moderna. Looking bearish, ABC correction, typical move after a very extended wave 5. So next on the list we have NVDA. So NVDA, I actually think I'm going to put this wave count up here. So we have this fifth wave we're working on, and we can subdivide this impulsively. So we have that wave 1 up, wave 2 down, and then a wave 3, and then we're kind of working on this kind of like a complex correction or a flat correction for this wave 4, so a WXY, or you could alternatively label this as an ABC. I think that would be appropriate here as well. So ABC, flat correction, or a WXY, and this will bring just a little bit more downside to the stock, and then we have a chance of pushing upwards for that wave 5. So I believe that NVIDIA had just had earnings, if I'm not mistaken, and it was pretty good, so that's why they're up in the post market. But yeah, I'm not really looking for any trade at the moment because I don't see a good risk to reward yet. But if we do confirm that we're starting this wave 5 upwards, then I may look to enter some calls just to target this last bit of upside for the stock. So yeah, that's going to be it for NVIDIA. Just looking like if we do come down here for that wave 4, then I would say that's a good buying opportunity for a chance at higher levels for that wave 5. And if we do start pushing upwards to that wave 5 right now, which is possible, then I might look to target that upside as well. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated, especially in the Discord, with any new plays. So next on the list will be AMC. So today the price action was a little bit boring. It didn't really do that much, kind of just consolidating. That's kind of what we were expecting to happen, just for a little bit longer. I do expect AMC to kind of stall out and be a little bit stubborn before trying to push upwards for that last bit of upside for the wave 5. And so far we have bounced off really strong support zones that I mentioned previously, the one being 1-to-1 ratio being right at 29, and we have bounced perfectly off that so far. So things are looking good. And like I said in the past video, I don't think I'm going to enter any new positions, but I am holding some shares. So for now, I'm just watching, making sure that things are still looking good. And right now, I think the checks are in place, and we still are looking good for that wave 5 upwards. And of course, if anything changes, I'll be signaling that in the Discord. So I think that's going to be it for this video, just some updates on the broader markets, as well as some of these picks that I think are setting up for potential trades in the future, especially NVIDIA and MRNA. And yeah, so I'll keep you guys updated with whatever happens, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.